Okay, so in this video we're going to learn how to summarize data using SAS Studio. Basically, I'll go over the material in Chapter 5. In Chapter 5, we will learn how to summarize numerical variables, how to get the summary statistics like the mean, the median, the standard deviation for numerical variables or numeric variables, and also how to construct histograms. And then we will learn how to also summarize character variables, which sometimes are called qualitative variables. We will learn how to generate frequency distributions and bar charts for them. Okay, so let me show you how we do these tasks. So, well, basically I'm here in SAS Studio. You already know how to log in. Now, let's say, so let's pick a data set from the SAS help library to work with. I think I'm gonna use class. Alrighty, okay, so this is good. Now, as you can see here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 variables and 19 observations. We have numeric variables like the age, the height, and the weight. And we also have a character variable, which is the gender, the sex of the student. Okay? So we'll work with this data set to illustrate the different things that you can do to summarize data with SAS Studio. So let's say, for example, that we want to summarize the height. Okay, this is a numeric variable. So we can basically compute or get a table with the summary statistics. What is the summary statistics? Well, basically the average value, which is the mean, or sometimes we call it the arithmetic mean. It's just the sum of the observations divided by the total number of observations, the average, what we commonly call the average. Also the standard deviation, which is a measure of the variability in the data. We could also find the median, which is the value that lies exactly at the middle. So 50% of the data is below that value, 50% of the data is above that value. We could get many summaries. So I'll show you how to get that, how to get a table with the summary statistics for, let's say, height. So you go to Tasks and Utilities, go to Tasks, and then go to Statistics. So you click on this statistics, and then you have different things here, different procedures, statistical procedures. Don't worry, we won't go deep into this. It's just summarizing the data, so we won't look into this yet. So we'll click here on summary statistics. Okay, summary statistics. So first I need to pick the data set that I'm working with, right? So SAS help class. Okay, so we have the data set. Now, what variable do I want to analyze? Okay, so I'm going to analyze the height. Okay, height. And if I click here in options, I can get different things: the mean, the standard deviation, the minimum value, maximum value, number of observations, number of missing observations, because sometimes you have missing records, and it's important to know how many missing observations you have. You can get the median if you want. Let's click that. There's some additional statistics here that you may want to get. We won't look into those, that's more advanced, but you could also find some percentiles of the distribution of data. The lower quartile, which is the 25th percentile, the upper quartile, etc. But this is more like for a statistic course. This is basic introduction to SAS. So plots, you can also get a histogram for the data, which looks how the data is distributed. So let's do that. Let's click there, and let's just run the task, and let's see what we get. Okay, so here you see, you get this table, that says analysis variable height. So we're analyzing the variable height. The mean or average is 62.33, so that's the average height for this group of students, which by the way is 19 students. That's the sample size, that's the number of observations. Standard deviation is 5.1 approximately. The minimum value was 51.3, so the shortest person was 51.3. I guess this is inches high, tall, and the maximum was 72. The median value was 62.8, which means that 50% of the students were shorter than this height and 50% were taller than this, right? And this is the histogram of the distribution of height. So if you put the pointer on top, it will tell you, okay, so on this range here, which by the way the mid value is this one, 57.5 for this range here. We have a 31.579% of the people in the sample. Same here, you have a 31.579, and then of course you're gonna have more people on the on the middle, and then few people that are really short and few people who are really tall, right? So that's the distribution, that's the histogram. You can also ask for, for example, you could ask other things here, like additional statistics. I already said that. Percentiles. There are many things that you can do, basically. But this is the basics, right? You can find the mean, standard deviation, get like a summary statistics for the data, and also a histogram of, in this case, heights. And you can also download this, okay, as a PDF. And then there you have the output. Okay. So now, let's say that I want to compare height of males and females. So I want to split the analysis by some variable, which is a categorical or character variable, in this case, gender. Right? I basically want to compare the heights of the students, but in separate groups by gender, male versus female. So how do I do that? So let me go back here. So let's say I want to analyze height by sex. That's how you do it. So you're basically splitting the analysis by gender. Now again, here you can include all of this, and then you can have a histogram. You could also have a box plot. If you know what it is, a box plot is another way of graphically displaying the numerical data. So let's say, okay, so let's run that and see what we get. Oh, there you go. So you get a table with the summary statistics for females and males. So we have 9 females, 10 males. The mean height for female is 60.5. The mean height for males is 63.9. Standard deviations are 5 and 4.83. Minimum value and maximum values for the males and the females, you can see here. The median value, the median height for females was 62.5. The median height for males is 64.15. So it looks like, males are on average taller than females for this group. And you can see here a comparison of the histograms. This is sex female, so this is for females, and this is for males. You can see that the male histogram is shifted to the right of the female histogram, which means that on average, the average for this one is higher than the average for this. So on average, males in this group are taller than females. Now this is reflecting the same thing. These are box plots. This line here is the median, and these are the maximum and minimum values that are not considered extreme. So in this little uh, symbol here, diamond, is basically the mean. So as you can see, the median for females is smaller than the median for males. Same thing for the mean. Females tend to be shorter than males. Males tend to be taller because, as you can see, the height increases in this direction. Again, you can also download this and you get this PDF with the output of your analysis. Okay. Now, this is how you summarize numeric variables with SAS Studio. You can also analyze or summarize character variables, which are sometimes called categorical or qualitative variables. An example of a qualitative variable here is gender, because it's not a number, it's a category, male, female. Another example could be political affiliation or country of origin, any variable that is not a number. And well, it could be a number. For example, if you say male equals 0, female equals 1, but that number doesn't have a numerical meaning, it's just a code. So when you have a code, even if it's a number, it's considered a character variable. But again, you know, in most cases it will be just a letter or a name or something like that. So let's say that you want to create a frequency distribution. What is a frequency distribution? A frequency distribution is basically a table that tells you the percentages and then, well, usually the number of observations and the percentages on each of the categories for your data. So let me show you that. So let's say that you want to create a frequency distribution for gender or sex, as they call it here, for this data set. So you don't go to summary statistics, you'll go to one-way frequencies. Okay. So first we need to choose the data set. Okay, class, it was already there, but you know, we can select it twice, that doesn't matter. And then what is the variable that we want to analyze? Sex, right? Okay. So what options do we have? Okay, we can get a frequency table that includes percentages, include cumulative frequencies and percentages. We don't really, you know, we're not interested in cumulative percentages in this case. Statistics, okay, that's more advanced. The chi-square test, you will see that in your statistic course. So let's see. Okay, plots. You could click here and it will suppress the plots, but we want to have the plots. Basically, the plot that will come with this is the bar graph, which is a way of graphically displaying character or categorical data. Okay, so let's just run the task, and there you go. So this is the frequency table, very simple. Females, we have 9 females, male 10. So this is the frequency, which is the counts on each category. In this case, we only have 2 categories. We could have more if this was, let's say, political affiliation, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, etc. So these are the percentages. Okay, so we have 47.37% of our sample was females, 52.63% of our sample was males, and then here we have the graphs. This is the cumulative distribution. Basically, well, you have 47%, and then you go all the way to 100%, because, you know, basically, yeah, I mean, it's cumulative, but this is not the important one. The important one is this one, because this one compares the percentages for the two groups. So we have 47.368% and 52.632%. Now the y-axis is the frequency in this case. So the height of this will be 9, right? Because the height of this column, this is the column for females. So the height of the column in this case will be 9, and the height of the column for males is 10, because that is the number of males in the sample. Okay, again, you can output this, and there you go. You see, you have your frequency table or frequency distribution, and you have the bar graph, and also a cumulative bar graph, but that's not that interesting. The most interesting one is this one. Okay, so that basically is what is talked about in chapter 5. Next video I'm going to be talking about how to graph data using SAS Studio.